back to the Daily Grind. Thanks for checking out the channel. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back pickle biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
The Korean Superboy Choi did a pre-fight interview with Ariel Helwani where he discussed his upcoming military service, his Swanson loss, and his main event slot at UFC St. Louis versus Jeremy Stephens. Now, this wasn't an article that was transcribed, so I'm essentially going off memory here, but I just watched the video, so I'm going to tell you guys what I remember from it. And essentially what he's saying, it ain't too much. I mean, we know Choi is going to be fighting Jeremy Stephens in the main event of UFC St. Louis, and he's coming off a fight of the year in 2016 with Cub, not over Cub Swanson because he lost the fight, but to Cub Swanson. They fought at the end of 2016, barn burner, fight of the year. And Choi has not fought since then. One thing about Choi that some people might or might not know is he is in the mandatory, I believe, like military service. It's mandatory. It's not like he's like, I want to be a fighter, but I also want to go dodge bullets or shit like that. It's actually him. It's mandatory for him. So with that being said, he discussed that. And I seen on the MacLife.com, this interview was actually for like a couple of years ago, if I'm not mistaken, or a couple of the article, and it said that Choi said that he was trying not to think about his military service coming up, but I think since then he's did his military service stint, came back to the UFC, and now I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he's got to go back in 1 year, he said. So he talked about that on this interview with Ariel Helwani, and there was a translator, of course, but he also talked about his Cub Swanson loss, and he said it was his first loss in the UFC, so he learned a lot from it because he hadn't lost in the UFC yet. And also after that fight, it made him train like harder. Like he learned things not only from his first loss, but also just from the Cub Swanson fight that he immediately started to work on after that fight. And that's what they asked him about the military stint. He said, are you worried about like this, halting your UFC career and seizing some of your momentum? Like, let's say you get a big win over Jeremy Stephens, or you're on your way to the title shot, and then right before your title shot comes, you've got to go do this military stint for 1 or 2 years. And he said he tries not to really, I don't know if he said that in this interview, but he has said it in the past. He tries not to think about it, but he also said he's still going to be training with the Korean Zombie. So even though he's going to be away from the sport, and some people might seem like, he's losing his skills being away from the sport, he looks at it as an opportunity to sharpen his skills. Just because he's in the military, he's still going to be training, he says, and he's still got the other UFC fighters like the Korean Zombie to help sharpen his skills. So with that being said, I wish Choi the best of luck in that military situation that he's got going on. And he's going to be fighting Jeremy Stephens. I predicted Jeremy Stephens to win this fight. You can go look at the predictions if you want to see why. But Choi is definitely, I would say he's got a bright future in the UFC. But I mean, it's just interesting when you've got all this momentum, and then you've got to go away for 2 years, and then you've got all this momentum, and then you've got to go away for a year. So we'll see what goes on. Either way, looking forward to the main event of UFC St. Louis in, I believe, 6 days, January 14th for sure. Can't wait for that. It's the main event. Choi versus Jeremy Stephens, sure to be an exciting fight. It's gonna probably, you can probably say there's an 80% chance, 90% chance this is fight of the night on this card. Both of these fighters are exciting fighters. Choi coming off fight of the year for Cub Swanson. Jeremy Stephens, I believe he's coming off of a fight with Gilbert Melendez, if I'm not mistaken. Great performance versus Gilbert Melendez. I think the leg kicks were there that fight. For some reason, I remember Gilbert Melendez like on one leg or something by the end of that fight. But I'm going off of memory. This is Choi pre-fight interview. Essentially a recap, but this is everything he had to say in the interview with Ariel Helwani. You can go check that out if you want on MMA Fighting's YouTube. With that being said, it is what it is. Let the full-time family know what you think about Choi versus Jeremy Stephens in the comments. I'm out.
Da 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 da! It's the motherfucking DOWG!